Hello, so welcome back. This is another video, as you can tell, in my mastering vlog series. If you've joined me, this is basically me talking at a webcam about stuff to do with mastering and a bit of housekeeping. Some people have said that the sound isn't great. I'm sort of trying to work on that. I talk quite quietly and I'm recording it through a webcam mic. I mean, it's a fairly decent webcam, but the audio is not great. Also, I'm in my living room, not in the studio. The studio doesn't have great light for recording videos during certain times of the day, so I've decided to make the videos in here for now. I might move over to the studio if I can get some sort of lighting situation sorted out. So bear with me. I'm also sitting a little bit closer because I'm just a bit worried about noise and stuff. I mean, as you can probably tell, audio stuff, that's my thing. So this topic is something that I was discussing with a chap called Jack on Facebook in response to some of my videos, and it's a tricky one. I'm going to do this video and then I'm going to do a couple of other related videos straight after, I think. And what this is going to be about is how to pick a mastering engineer to work with. Now, there's a couple of different sort of things that people look for and things that people investigate. And I'm going to try and give you three which I think are actually important and will actually get you to the right results. Obviously, I'm biased. I want everybody to work with me because it's my job. But I'm hoping that this will be useful for people who I'm not a good fit for, but you need some clarity on this issue. So without further ado, here's my first thing to look for: credits. The work that the mastering engineer has done. This is 90% of what will give you the best result for your mastering engineer. Mastering engineers are responding to their experience of music and audio, and they're responding to their understanding of aesthetics. They're responding to their understanding of the limitations of a format, and they're responding to different genres and the way that those worlds work. Professionally, there's so many different. Everybody makes music. Every sort of person, every age, demographic, location makes music, and a mastering engineer, through their own experience of life, will be able to work with certain people well and certain people not so well. And the credits will help you see this. And my advice is to look on stuff that you compare your music to. Now, if you compare your music to Taylor Swift or Kanye West or Drake, you're probably not going to be able to afford the mastering engineers who worked on those projects. But if you can find stuff within the same genre which is kind of up and coming, popular, getting a bit of a following, aesthetically is similar, but maybe isn't going to be, major label level payment, you should be able to apply this as well. And any sort of scene is the word I'm going to use, which shows my experience of this stuff. Any sort of community around music will probably have labels and people who are known for promoting that music. And you can go onto their social media, look at the music that they're promoting, the stuff that they like, the stuff that they're playing on their radio shows and stuff, and see if you can find consistency. If you can find consistency in people who are working in those, the same thing for artwork, to be honest. I've done the same thing where I've basically had labels which I admire the way they work, and I've hired on their people who are freelance to work on my stuff. And mastering, it really should be the same. If you're achieving, or you're trying to achieve, comparisons to certain artists that are within, maybe in your country, which are doing a bit better than you, or you aspire in your planning to get to the step, just look at who's mastering their stuff. And if they pass the other two criteria, which I'm going to mention, then you found your person. You try, at least. They'll understand it. And the lack of friction at getting your stuff done by them will make for a better result. That's how I get most of my work. It's just people being like, "Oh, you worked on this thing. I want you to work on this thing." I mean, 99%, I would say that's the case. Like genuinely, that's the first thing. I mean, other factors might also interact with it, but that's really the reason. The second thing I want to talk about is more to do with professional relationships, and it's the person themselves, how they work, how they communicate, how they talk, um, language, and I mean literally language. You know, do you speak the same language? Is there a barrier? Is that going to cause issues when it comes to revisions or explaining what you want? I worked with people who don't speak particularly great English, but we sort of worked a way around it. And there are sort of techniques for doing stuff, you know, Google Translate and stuff, where you can sort of try and filter out any misunderstandings. Also, like your temperament, like when you send them an email and you send it as yourself and you're putting yourself out there and saying, look, I want you to work on my art, this is me, you're going to see my soul, you're going to see my understanding of life, my aesthetic feelings and stuff. Do they respond in a way which is respectful? Do they respond in a way which you feel that you can continue talking to them? You know, are they closed up or are they open to you? Are they asking questions? Are they asking the right questions? Sense of humor. I mean, this is kind of like, this sounds basic, but I really do try to be as open with everybody that emails me. I work with so many different types of people, ages, countries, language, demographics, you know, different ways of speaking, different ways of existing in the world. And as a mastering engineer, unless you're going to be super specific on one genre and one sort of type of person, you have to learn how to interact with people. Now, I'm going to tell you a little anecdote here. I'm not going to name them because I don't want to embarrass them. But I've worked with a musician who worked on a song that was considered so violent and, you know, a menace to society that it was actually banned from being played in certain clubs and places. And they genuinely are the most polite, cheery, you know, business-like, but also friendly person I've dealt with. And I remember seeing the email come in, and I thought, wow, like, I really like this person's music, but I wonder how they're going to be. Like, are they going to be sort of like, you know, a bit aggressive? And no, it was completely not the case. So you've got to be open to this stuff. You've got to think like, well, okay, this could be the most insane, violent, you know, obscure thing, but everybody's just a person trying to, you know, get by in the world. And if somebody's not acting with you in a way that you find respectful, don't work with them, because the second there's some stress, you're going to feel completely misbalanced with them, and it just won't work. So yeah, that's my second thing: personality, openness, communication skills. I mean, just professionalism really is the way to put it. The third one is a limiting factor that will hit you hard, and that's the price. I understand that for most people paying for mastering, unless they already have a market that they're serving, it's like speculative, the amount of money they're dropping on it. And you've got to price yourself in a market. I mean, I'm sort of mid-priced. I'm not expensive, but I'm not priced in a way that, you know, someone doing a demo, they're not really going to share it to many people, can really afford. And that's fine. You know, I exist in a market. I don't earn ridiculous amounts of money. Like, I pretty much last year just started paying average wage in the UK to myself out the business. So it's not like I'm rinsing anybody. But it's also like I'm not undercutting and undervaluing myself. And most mastering engineers, what they'll do is they'll put their prices up bit by bit. And if the work keeps coming or the work increases, which is what I generally find when I put my prices up, there's a perception of quality, there's a perception of professionalism, and as long as the way that you interact with people matches, everybody feels comfortable. And again, like I always say, feeling comfortable, confident will result in a better sounding master. But of course, the price will prohibit you to the point that you can't do it. So in that case, what you want to do is you want to work backwards. Who's the person that you really want? You might be able to email them and say, like, do you have like an intern, or do you have any recommendations? I can't really afford you, but like, have you trained somebody up? Is there somebody who is working in the same field as you recommend? Most people will tell you, because then they'll go for a coffee with them and say, hey, I recommended this person to you. How did it go? You know, people are generally quite nice if you're nice to them. And you know, you don't get anywhere without asking questions. Then the same thing applies. Like, the way that I've done this with stuff in the past is I've just found people that have worked on stuff that I like, and I consider to be in a similar market to what I'm trying to achieve. Say, you know, this could be anything. This could be getting work done in your house, or, you know, getting a bespoke cake made. You know, it sounds silly, but you can apply the same logic. And then you work backwards. You open them all in your tabs and you price it up, and you go, right, well, that one's too high. This one's too low, and then you can see if there's is there a reason why they're too low? Do they not have the experience? Are they missing some services? And then you try and sort of find that middle bit, and then when you find the person, or 3 people or whatever, write them an email. And then the first 2 things which I mentioned about at the start of this video, you can then filter through those. 3 things which I think matter. Credits, because that shows work they've done. The way they respond and the way they interact with you. Professionalism, because that will become a blockage quite quickly if it's wrong. And third, limiting factor, the price. Personally, I'm going to go on to why I think this is nonsense. There's 2 things which I think are nonsense, which I'll rant about. Don't go based on their equipment unless you're hiring something. If you need to transfer some tapes, then go on the equipment. If you're tracking something and you want to see what mics they've got and what backline they've got, guitar amps, then go on the equipment. You know, if you're going to be hiring out a studio to do some production stuff, then look at the synthesizers. If you're hiring a mastering person to work on their own and then send you stuff back and forth, the equipment doesn't really tell you anything, really. It tells you how much money they've spent, but it doesn't tell how much money they've earned. It tells you, you know, anyway. We'll go into this in another video. The other one which I have a problem with is before and after clips. I'll explain why I think that's not a particularly good way of valuing a mastering engineer in another video as well. So I hope that's been useful. You know, I'm probably not going to be the best fit for everybody, as much as I try to be, but those 3 rules, I think, will weed out a lot of stress, issues, and wasted money for you and your projects. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope the audio is a bit better, and 2 more videos incoming. Bye.